Welcome to this explainer. Manhattan gets literally all the glory, right? But here's the crazy thing. It actually accounts for less than 8% of New York City's total landmass. 8%. So today, we're taking a journey to discover the authentic, totally off the beaten path New York City. We're going to grab our walking shoes and explore the outer boroughs, where centuries of hidden history and just the most incredible global flavors are waiting to be discovered.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. First, we'll establish exactly what we mean by the Manhattan bubble. Next, we're heading north to uncover the deep, hidden history of the Bronx. Then we pivot over to Queens for a massive global food tour in Jackson Heights. And finally, we'll bring it all together and talk about experiencing the real NYC.
So, part one, beyond the Manhattan bubble. Think you know New York City? Well, even for seasoned visitors, it is incredibly easy to get trapped in the Manhattan bubble. People just kind of lock into this familiar loop, right? Landmarks, popular downtown spots, and they totally miss the vibrant, authentic neighborhoods just a quick subway ride away. These are the places where real New Yorkers live, eat, and preserve some seriously incredible legacies.
I mean, look at the contrast here. The standard tourist itinerary relies on, well, heavy crowds, strict confinement to Manhattan, and that super predictable checklist of famous sites. But the real NYC? It's defined by quiet, hidden gardens. It features ancient farmhouses that literally predate the United States, and global street carts serving up authentic, unadulterated immigrant cuisines. It's just a huge, stark contrast between what tourists expect and the deeply rooted culture that locals actually know and love.
Let's jump into Section 2, the Bronx, Hidden History. Now, most people associate the Bronx exclusively with the zoo or Yankee Stadium, but its history rivals absolutely anything down in Manhattan. Check this out. In 1758, a blacksmith built the Valentine Variant House. This fieldstone farmhouse actually survived the Revolutionary War. It was occupied by British, Hessian, and American troops. Then jump to 1836 and we get the Bartow Pell Mansion. It's this elegant Greek Revival mansion sitting right in Pelham Bay Park, totally surrounded by forest and completely removed from the city rush. And finally, in 1848, the High Bridge opened. This is NYC's oldest standing bridge, connecting the Bronx to Manhattan a cool 140 feet above the Harlem River. Walking across its original herringbone brick pavement, it seriously feels like stepping back in time.
And the sheer scale of these outer boroughs, it's staggering. Take the number 400. That represents the 400 acres of Woodlawn Cemetery up in the Bronx. Now, actually calling it just a burial ground doesn't do it justice. It's a sprawling National Historic Landmark that feels way more like an outdoor sculpture museum. Founded in 1863, it features over 1,300 elaborate Victorian mausoleums designed by world-famous architects. It's so massive that there's an entire jazz corner where musical legends like Miles Davis and Duke Ellington rest. The juxtaposition of these silent, historic monuments right alongside the modern urban rush of the Bronx, it's absolutely fascinating.
Oh, and if you want an absolute hidden oasis, you have to consider City Island. The running joke, or really the truth, is that it feels like a New England fishing village accidentally attached to New York City. It's just a 1.5-mile-long island in Eastchester Bay, but it has this deep history as a boat-building community dating all the way back to the 1800s. With its yacht clubs, antique shops, and waterfront seafood spots, the pace of life here is entirely different from literally anywhere else in the five boroughs.
All right, moving right along to Section 3, Queens, Global Food Tour.
So now we're pivoting geographically and sensorially. We're trading the quiet historic gardens of the Bronx for the bustling, highly aromatic streets of Queens, specifically Jackson Heights. Thanks to historical immigration policies and being super close to major airports, this neighborhood has been deeply shaped by incredible waves of South American and South Asian immigration. So here's our roadmap for a self-guided Eat Your World food tour. We're going to start at the bustling intersection of 74th Street and Roosevelt Avenue. From there, we dive into North Indian chaat, shift over to Bangladeshi street food, and finish with some incredible Nepali momos. The concentration of global cultures in this single neighborhood is just staggering.
As we navigate Jackson Heights, it's pretty wild to think it was originally developed in 1916 as the first planned garden city community in the U.S. It was literally designed to give Manhattanites a green escape. But today, roughly half of its 67,000 residents identify as Latino, and another 20% are Asian. As we move through these blocks, roughly between 73rd and 80th Streets, we are essentially walking through a vibrant, living map of global immigration, tasting the authentic recipes brought directly from these home countries.
Okay, if you're here on a weekend afternoon, you absolutely cannot miss the Bahu Dada stand on 73rd Street. It's a massive local favorite where you can grab a cup of jalmuri. If you haven't had it, jalmuri is a beloved Bengali street snack, a chaat made of puffed rice mixed with roasted soybeans, chickpeas, chopped tomatoes, onions, and cilantro. But the absolute essential component, the thing that gives it its unique, almost wasabi-esque kick, mustard oil. For just $3, it is an authentic taste of East India right on a Queens sidewalk. Right behind that stand, you can dive even deeper into Bangladeshi cuisine with a platter of bortas. These are incredibly flavorful spicy mashes. They usually consist of a vegetable, like eggplant, pumpkin, or potato, or even fish and shrimp, and they are mashed up intensely with garlic, chili, and yup, lots of that signature mustard oil. It's traditional home-style cooking, often served with white rice and a soupy dal. It really just goes to show how genuine global dishes find a permanent, celebrated home right here in the city. And this is the magic of Jackson Heights. You can literally walk out of a shop eating a butter-topped Colombian arepa, which is this rich, thick corn cake that's quintessential South American street food, cross the street and immediately sit down for a bowl of spicy Nepali jol momos, swimming in a fiery, deeply spiced broth. It's an entire globe of flavor packed into just a few walkable blocks. Okay, let's wrap this up with Section 4, experiencing the real NYC.
So, to summarize, New York City's magic isn't just its famous skyline. The true magic is found in that deep, pre-revolutionary history, surviving between apartment buildings in the Bronx. It's in the quiet, 400-acre nature escapes that feel miles and miles away from any city. It's in the vibrant, immigrant-driven culinary diversity of Queens, where decades of global settlement have created unparalleled food scenes. It's really about prioritizing authentic neighborhoods over those iconic but ultimately crowded tourist traps.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Are you ready to ditch the tourist traps and taste the real neighborhoods of New York? Because the next time you find yourself planning a trip, or even just an afternoon out, I challenge you to look past the usual sights. Head north to trace the footsteps of history in the Bronx, or head east to taste the world in Queens. The real New York City is out there, waiting for you. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey today.